A specific edge. A specific edge. Advanced reactors. Advanced reactors. Build out this supply chain. Build out this supply chain. No single magic bullet. No single magic bullet. A redeploy core strengths. And redeploy core strengths.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We help you get right to the heart of complex topics shaping our world. Today we're looking at a company many in the energy sector will definitely know. Dusanenability. Now, this isn't just another story about a company adapting. We're talking about a real industrial heavyweight, known for traditional power generation, but now, maybe more quietly, really pushing into the future of clean energy. How are they actually doing it? And what does it signal for the whole global energy picture? Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, Dusanenability is a major player, a leading South Korean industrial company, huge history in power plant equipment, the big stuff. But what's really shifted, and quite decisively recently, is their pivot. They're moving hard towards cleaner, sustainable energy tech. It's a direct response, to global decarbonization goals. They're aiming to provide that stable, low-carbon power that's so critical as renewables grow, plus boosting energy security, too, moving away from volatile fossil fuels.
Right, and when we talk about that pivot, one area that keeps coming up for Doosan is SMRs, small modular reactors. For you listening, maybe you're tracking this space, maybe not. What exactly are SMRs? Why are they suddenly such a big deal?
What's fascinating here is SMRs are basically next-generation nuclear reactors, but designed differently. They're smaller, built to be inherently safer, and crucially more cost-efficient than the huge traditional plants we're used to. The key advantages: they need much less land, and the safety aspect is much higher because of the modular kind of standardized design. So they're a really practical, flexible option for stable, low-carbon power. Think remote areas, industrial sites, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Smaller footprint.
Okay, so lots of companies are looking at SMRs, developing designs, but Doosan, what gives them a specific edge, maybe even a unique one in this pretty crowded field? Here's where it gets really interesting.
Well, yeah. If we connect this to the bigger picture, Doosan's advantage really comes from their partnership with NuScale Power, the U.S. SMR developer. They're not just, writing checks. They are already involved in actually producing and delivering key reactor components. We're talking actual manufacturing, turning designs into real certifiable hardware.
So real steel, basically,
No.
not just blueprints.
Exactly. And their long history in heavy industry means they have the know-how to build out this new supply chain for advanced reactors. That's a huge bottleneck for the whole sector, right? So that practical head start building and supplying parts, it just lowers the risk profile compared to, say, other U.S. firms like X-Energy, TerraPower, Holtec. Many of them are still more in the design or, earlier planning phases. And let's not forget, Doosan's also involved in Korea's own ISMR project, so they're positioning themselves globally.
Okay, so SMRs are clearly a flagship focus, but Doosan's strategy is broader than just SMRs, isn't it? It seems like they're building out a whole clean energy toolkit.
Absolutely, yeah. They get that there's no single magic bullet here. So beyond SMRs, they've developed Korea's first large-scale gas turbine. Big achievement. And they're pushing into hydrogen turbines, too, plus wind power systems. And these technologies, they're not just separate bets, they work together. Hydrogen turbines, for example, can provide flexible power to back up renewables when the sun isn't shining or the wind isn't blowing. That grid stability is crucial.
Yeah, balancing act.
Exactly. They want to be a sort of one-stop shop for the energy transition.
So what does this all mean for you listening, thinking about where energy is going, or maybe even investment trends?
Yeah.
What's the key takeaway from Doosan's story here?
Well, this raises an important question about how these big established industrial companies pivot, or if they can pivot, really. Dusanenability's story, it's not just going green, it's a model for how a legacy-heavy industry can take its core strengths. Its manufacturing skill, its project management experience, that deep engineering base, and redeploy them to lead in totally new, high-tech areas like SMRs and hydrogen. They're also really well aligned with government energy policies, both in Korea and internationally. Add in the strong manufacturing, the partnerships like NuScale, It puts them in a very interesting position. For anyone tracking that massive global shift to low-carbon energy, Doosan is, It's a really compelling example of how industrial relevance is being redefined.
Yeah, it really is fascinating to see a company with that kind of, traditional industrial might stepping up to be right at the forefront of these future technologies. Makes you think, doesn't it? How many other established giants out there might be quietly doing something similar, preparing to lead the next wave?